Welcome to Life Today Live. Appreciate you guys jumping in here today. If you're watching in the replay, we welcome you as well. If you haven't subscribed or followed, please do that. Today is going to be, it's going to be an interesting interview. It's going to be a little bit tough at times because this is a story that, I've got a trailer to set up a book that just released this week. It's available now. If you want to check it out, please do. But this is a tough story, so I'll just play this video. You guys watch this video, and then we will come back and we will talk to the woman that you'll see in the video. Her name is Carol Stern, and she has a story that you really need to be aware of. As tough as it is, you need to be aware of this. Watch this, and then we'll be back live with Carol Stern.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has a great story.
I'm trying to figure out how to view this story. Is it a medical story? Is it a legal story?
It's a love story. There's nothing in the world that Gary wouldn't do for me. He wouldn't let anything happen to me. He wouldn't let anything hurt me. This is where I found my true love. When you first go into a hospital, doctors are put on pedestals. We think that, they know what they're doing because they have a degree. I didn't listen to Gary. I should have. He got real sick. After that, I would not leave his side. I didn't know medicine. I knew chicken. But what I knew more was Gary. Gary's yelling at everybody. This is not my Crohn's. It's time that I take over. I have to do this to keep my husband alive. And nothing else mattered. They have hospital advocates. They don't have a human advocate for the human in that bed. There's so many people out there that will give up. Listen to your inner voice because they're going to direct you the right way. I took the decision of death out of the doctor's hands and put it where it belonged, back into Gary's. We have to sue you. It's not because you made a mistake. It's because you didn't own up to your mistake.
Was it about the money?
Keep the money. Give me my husband back. It's not about the Carols out there. Carols out there, we will be fine so long as we can take care of the Garys. And we're all Carols. And we're all Garys.
That is the book. Our guest is Carol Stern. Great to have you, Carol. Let me show people the book real quick. It's called "Ripped Apart: Living Misdiagnosed." We saw a little bit in the trailer there, but kind of give us an idea more of what exactly happened.
Well, my husband Gary had Crohn's disease since he was, I think, 12 or 13. And it had gone into remission. And 2011, after not having a problem for 11 years, he started having problems. And I called an ambulance and took him to the hospital. And the doctors didn't do all the testing. The testing they did do came back inconclusive. So they made assumptions that it was his Crohn's. So they treated him for it with prednisone and Toradol, which exacerbated the real problem, which was he had an ulcer that perforated.
How long was he fighting for his life?
It started in the beginning of 2011, and he passed away in March of 2016.
Oh my! So this was a prolonged. I mean, something going on that long. How come they weren't able to correct? The misdiagnosis, the wrong medication. Because I mean, this is not that uncommon, really, that someone gets something that is not helping them. How come this was never corrected? That's a long time.
Well, I guess the best way to describe it is when he got sick and they kept assuming over and over it was his Crohn's disease, even though he kept telling everyone it wasn't, that he ended up getting even sicker. So they went in and did a surgery, an exploratory. I guess the best way, and this is the way I describe someone that's got Crohn's disease that is in remission. Crohn's disease It's like a beautiful sandcastle. It's fine so long as you don't mess with it. But once you cut into it or get it wet, it just falls apart. And because the surgeon cut into his small intestine, it started a chain reaction that just got worse and worse and worse. The doctors were, the first two hospitals, they were refusing to tell me the truth. They weren't looking at the truth. They started shrugging their shoulders, telling me he was going to die, any day, and there was nothing they could do. And I wasn't going to take that for an answer. So I took matters in my own hands with God's help, got him to the right hospital. Even there, though, the damage had been done. And that's what the doctors told me, but at least they were honest with me. And they stayed with Gary. My husband had over 100 trips to the OR alone in that amount of time. By the time it was said and done in 2000 or late 2013, my husband only had 17 inches of his small intestines left and half his colon. That was another problem. My husband also, because of it being the way it was and his abdomen being wide open and staying that way for all that time because he had fistulas, which is a medical term for you have a hole that doesn't belong. So he had holes in his intestines. So, and I don't mean to upset anyone, but this is the reality. So it would just cut out the holes that were in his stomach. And he couldn't eat or drink anything for over 4 years. Everything was intravenous.
This just sounds like a nightmare on every level. Um, what, what, I guess, I mean, we could get in the details of his fight, but now, I mean, he's been gone 5 years. What do you, what have you done? I mean, how, I can guess that the range of emotions go from grief to anger to, bitterness to grief to anger to bitter. I mean, this is a cycle. Um, how do you deal with something like that?
You write a book.
Yeah.
Anger for me really has never happened. I've gotten mad at doctors several times, but through this process, I was never alone. Gary's angels were always right there helping me, and I knew what I needed to do after Gary passed away because of this. I need Gary's story out there. If somebody needs help and they need to know what to do. And unfortunately, I found out the hard way how to do everything, and I don't want that to happen to other people. I want to give them something I didn't get except by my thoughts and my voice is saying, no, don't go, don't do this. Sadness, yeah, I'm always sad. But Gary is right next to me. I was blessed to have my true love in my life. It wasn't as long as I would have wanted, but we're not supposed to really go on our time anyway to go on God's time. Yeah. So I just have to take that and remember the good things and learn from the bad things. And if everything that went wrong, and there were a lot of things that went wrong, if I can stand up and help people so they don't have to go through it, or even get laws changed so that, I'm so tired of, politicians talking about the healthcare system. They've been talking about it since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Hello, time to fix it, and stop talking about it. So if that's the way God wants me to go, that's where I'm going to go. I, I, I go whichever way I need to
Yeah.
help.
Now, are you trying to help people who are navigating a system that's not working for them, or are you trying to help people more in a situation of loss and grief?
I would say the latter, loss and grief. I feel for people, and I could tell them, my feelings, but I also know the things that I couldn't stand hearing after Gary passed away, which is, oh, you'll find somebody else. No, I won't. That was my true love. It'll get easier. No, it doesn't. No, it's just God blesses us to put it in a spot of our heart that makes it easier for us to control. But it doesn't get any easier, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
But with the knowledge and learning, you don't have, the system's broken. You don't have to make the system work for you. That's what I want to teach people.
What do most people not know about our healthcare system that you learned the hard way?
I think most people know it. They just don't want to talk about it. Number one, doctors are put on pedestals. They are human beings, and they're going to make mistakes. But as an advocate or as a patient, you have the right to question them, and don't let them talk down to you. If a doctor starts talking down to you, start Googling another doctor. You want one that's got compassion and that's going to understand. And another thing is, insurance companies need to back off. They are running our healthcare system, and it's wrong. They decide who's going to get medication. And if you can't afford it because it costs a little too much, the doctor's saying, yes, she needs this. But insurance companies say no because it's $1,000 a month. Well, guess what? 6 months from now, that patient's in the hospital having surgery because she couldn't take the medication. These are things that need to stop, and these are things that people need to understand what needs to be fixed. There's so many underlying costs that you don't see.
Yeah, I think anybody who's been in the hospital for any period of time, whether you're having a baby or you're having surgery, my wife obviously had the babies. I had the surgeries. You come back and you see charges for Kleenex that's $15, and you're like, what in the world is going on? Do we have too many hands in the medical system? I mean, I go to a doctor, I need the doctor to help me, but then you got the insurance company, you got the lawyers, you got all these other people that are behind the scenes hidden. Is there just too many fingers in the pot trying to get their piece of money?
Oh, there's definitely too many hands in the pot.
Yeah.
And the only ones that are losing are the Americans, the patients, and the loved ones. It needs to stop. You were just talking about your wife having a baby. Did you know what skin on skin is?
No idea. What is that?
There's a phrase in the medical healthcare system. It's called skin to skin. A woman giving birth to a baby, when they take the baby and they put it on the mother's stomach for the first time, they call it skin to skin. And they charge you anywhere from $39 to $69 to hand you the baby for the first time.
No. You're kidding me. And I wouldn't know what that is. I mean, how much are they hiding that we don't know?
Too much.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to show people the book here. This is the book. It's called Ripped Apart: Living Misdiagnosed, and it is available now, so you can go pick that up and discover a lot of these things that we don't know about our healthcare system. We wonder why it's not working, why it's getting more expensive. I mean, there's just so much going on. Now, you actually won a big court case because of this, correct?
Yes, it was medical malpractice suit against a couple of hospitals and a few doctors.
Why did you go that route? Why did you sue them?
My husband really wanted to sue. He wanted to be vindicated. He's the one that kept telling everybody from day one it wasn't his crime, and nobody would listen. And when we got to the third hospital and the doctors were being honest with us that there was no sign of his Crohn's, nor had there looked like there had been for a long time. He needed people to hear him. It was important to my husband,
Mm.
and it wasn't about money. When the verdict came down, I was looking at my husband, and he was crying tears.
Mm.
I mean, it was flowing out. I had put a towel down there. Neither one of us hurt the amount, and we didn't care
Mm.
because it was Gary was vindicated.
Mm.
Now they know, and yes, the lawyer wanted to make sure we were all right, but I needed to take care of Gary.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize at the time that Gary was wanting to take care of me,
Mm.
and he was holding on to make sure I was okay.
Mm.
And then when he found out I was, he let go.
Mm.
Mm. You know, in the video I showed, they said, is it a what kind of story is this, right? And you said it was a love story. Is that part of what you're talking about when you say this is a love story?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I didn't know when I met Gary, I was 40. And when I met him, I wasn't looking for anyone. I didn't realize that men really knew how to love. I thought it was a woman thing. I thought there's no way men could love like we can. And I thought that all my life until I met Gary. He showed me that, yeah, men definitely know how to love. He loves me with every part of his being. And he treated me better than a queen. I mean, anything I wanted, he was right there for me. He just wanted to love and protect me. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned your faith. You mentioned God a few times. Where was God during this fight? And where has he been, since Gary passed?
I've always felt God's presence through his angels. There were times that I wasn't even supposed to be in the room, and I was pushed back in the room by angels. And I mean, literally, I was walking down the hall, and I heard somebody tell me, "Don't go." I turned around, there was nobody there. And then I felt two hands pushing me back into Gary's room. I went back into his room. I was like, okay, I'll go back. I went into his room to see some really bad things happen. I had to start yelling and screaming for doctors. They rushed him to the OR, came out 4 hours later and said, if you hadn't seen that and didn't insist on us doing this, he would have died. It wasn't me. I didn't push myself back in that room. It was Gary's angels. There's a reason why Gary had to go through what he went through. And this is it. Somebody needs to know how not to go through it. I honestly believe that God wants this story told so that it can help people. And that's all I want to do.
What about you? I mean, you it's not right that you would hurt forever. Um, have where's God now for you?
God's always here. I will see Gary again. I will. And I know that. Just like I'll see my mom, my friends that have passed, my dad. It's not for me to question. It's for me to love and do what's right in my heart with my faith, which is treat everybody with love and compassion and hope they do the same. If you smile at somebody, chances are they're going to smile back. And that's a lot better than getting flipped off.
Yeah, with the book being released, and you having to do interviews like this, Is it hard? Has it brought a bunch of emotion back having to recount his story?
Everything's hard. Of course it is. It's, it would be hard just me lying in my bed feeling sorry that he's not physically with me
Hmm.
and thinking this way, at least something good can come out of it. And yeah, of course it's hard. But one day I hope and pray I get a letter showing that my husband didn't go through all that for nothing. And it wasn't for me to get money. That if his story can help other people talk up to doctors, question things, question insurance companies, make it so they don't get misdiagnosed and their life can go on, then it's worth it. It's not about me. It's not, it's about all those other people out there that need help. Yeah, everything's tough in life.
Yeah, you don't have to say it, but I will. But I'm sure that this cost you guys pretty much everything you had, and so any money you recouped in a lawsuit to help cover the expenses you did have that you shouldn't have had, and to take care of you after your loss of Gary, totally right that you should have it. So you rest in that. Since this has happened, are you are you like a magnet for other stories? Are you hearing a lot of other people that are telling you stories of their situations similar?
Yeah, you're the first one to ask me that question. It's amazing. It's so disheartening to see how many people know someone that's been misdiagnosed and have similar situations, maybe not as dramatic as my husband, but a lot of similar situations. And I didn't leave my husband's side in the hospital. I lived in the hospital with my refuse to leave. And so I saw things there that were just, you know, really crazy. But now, people that you wouldn't even think of, you're like, my mother, something happened to my mother. She was just like diagnosed. She had cancer and she passed away. And if they had found it 6 months earlier, well, guess what? They didn't find it because the insurance company wouldn't let them do the test. All these stories are helping me to fight that much harder for everybody. And I'm not a saint. I'm just one. But God blessed me to have a big mouth. And I want to help people because helping people helps me take care of Gary, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah.
I'm still taking care of my husband's life.
Mm.
I had a experience in the hospital that was nothing, right? But nurse came in the middle of the night, poked my arm, moved the IV. I was in for a week, and um, it hurt. I was like, "That's not right," and she's like, "No, it'll be fine." I doze. I wake up. I don't know how much longer, and my arm's twice the size that it should be. Well, they just made a simple mistake. Now that one was nothing, right? They came in, they fixed it. My arm went, swelling went down. I'm fine. But they're making life and death decisions in hospitals, which I have all the sympathy in the world for them. I wouldn't want to be there. But are are we are we dealing with a bunch of incompetent people oftentimes in hospitals? Or what do you think?
No, no, not at all.
Mm.
What you got was phlebitis, by the way. And it's because they corrected it and they let you know, I I would say thank you.
Mm.
It wasn't life or death, and they did acknowledge it. That's a big problem they have in hospitals. They want to cover up their problems because they're afraid of lawsuits. There's not a hospital out there that's not going to make a mistake. I mean, the Cleveland Clinic where my husband went, where they're fabulous. I had to remind nurses to put gloves on when they touched my husband's central line. I had to throw them out of the room. So they're human beings. They're going to make mistakes. You have to catch it and fix it. And it's okay. But certain mistakes that they make over and over, they're ridiculous. Doctors treating a computer instead of the patient. Anyone that went in to take care of my husband and didn't spend 15 minutes going head to toe on him was not going to take care of my husband. They're treating the computer. They're looking at the screen, saying something to him, and then looking back at the screen. Hello, my husband's not on that screen. He's in the bed. He's not patient number. He's not Mr. Stern. His name is Gary. And that's what you're going to call him. He's a human being. You treat him as such. And every patient, which is a really bad word, by the way, because patients should not be in the hospital. Human beings should be replaced with it. Because everybody that's there is sick and they deserve the best type of care. So you treat them as human.
And I believe that that's the way most doctors feel, honestly. I know some wonderful doctors. I'm sure you do too. I almost think that it's the lawyers that have wrecked the system more than anything, and the insurance companies. But that's my personal opinion. All right, Carol. What people that are watching this that are going, oh my, what's the bottom line? What do they need to know that maybe the average person does not know?
Trust your inner voice. Trust yourself. If things don't seem right to you, question it. And if they are not responding the way you expect them to, if they're looking at you like you have a lot of nerve to ask them that, then Google other doctors and get them out of there.
That's true. How can people help you or pray for you?
My name's Carol. Just pray. Pray for everybody. We're all on this earth together. Smile at somebody, and I'll bet you get a smile back. And that's all we need.
Well, I just want to say thank you because I know this is not easy, but we need an awareness. And unfortunately, you learned the hard way, but you've taken the time to put your experience in a book, the things you learned into a book, and now you're taking the time to talk to people directly. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys watching. Hit share. Someone that's dealing with this. This may be some valuable information. And be sure to check out the book and pray for Carol. Pray for Carol. She's got a voice for a reason, and we need people to hear her. And we need the doctors and the medical system and the insurance companies and the lawyers to hear her. So do that. And join us again next time here on Life Today Live. You can pick up the book. It's available now. And we'll see you again next time.